Following a landslide victory, the APC took over the helm of governance from PDP. PDP had been the ruling party since Nigeria's transition from military rule in 1999. The opposition challenged the ruling PDP with accusations of mass corruption, nepotism, and poor response to insecurity. With the support of 8.5 million Nigerian voters, the Muhammadu Buhari-led APC defeated President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan of the PDP. A new commander-in-chief was sworn in. President Muhammadu Buhari, a former military ruler, had become the people's hope for a better future. After 3 unsuccessful attempts, PMB was finally in Aso Rock with the people's mandate to root out corruption and save the country from decline. 4 years later, the APC-led government were back again to seek the goodwill of the people for another term in office. The former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, was the main contender for Aso Rock in 2019, with ex-governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, as his running mate. The opposing ticket had endeared itself to many. The PMB/Oshibajo campaign manifesto was tagged Next Level Nigeria. It was going to be a hard sell. A delight to be able to have a politician here with us, because many Nigerians have lots and lots of questions about what is happening. Now, about 84 million registered voters decided in February 2019 to return your government to power. And you have a majority in the House of Representatives. How was it for you, the elections? How did you win the election?
My election was conducted on 2 different occasions. We had the day of the election, and then we had a rerun 2 weeks late. About 2-3 weeks later. We went through the rigorous campaign period. We went through the primaries, and then we went through the general campaign, and then onto the election.
What did you promise your constituency that you would do if elected into office?
I'm going to have 4 different constituency offices that will represent Ikoyi, Balede, Victoria Island, Iru, Etiosa and Etiosa East. And I'm going to make sure we employ residents of Etiosa, so that in that way at least 4 people have jobs to feed their family. So, my good people, I believe I'm the most ready for this job, and we are going to vote. Let us continue. We are going to vote February 16. Let us continue to vote for the APC, and be rest assured that you will find me. That is why you see that I boldly post it on my posters that I'm your neighbor. And that is why you see boldly on my posters that I'm the next future of Etiosa.
My wish for Nigeria is that one day, we will get there. You get to the airport, everything is functioning, the ACs are working, the conveyor belts are bringing out your bags in 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. One day you go to the National Assembly or the executive ministry, and you don't have to wait eternity to see either the minister or the PAMSEC or whoever is in charge. That's the dream that I have for Nigeria, that all these killings would, stop, and we wouldn't experience it, and I can go from Lagos to Zamfara without the worry of being kidnapped by all these bandits, or that I can tune on my TV and not see headsmen killing everybody in a little town. So I can be happy where my child can go to the next school beside my house and I won't pay, with my ears and nose. So and these are my dream for Nigeria, where citizens would, basics. You won't feel the need to leave for Canada or the next available country. That's my dream for Nigeria.
I also believe that one day Americans, British, German will be queuing up to get Nigerian visas.
I hope so.
That Nigeria will be a desirable place for people to come to.
Yes.
Welcome back to the Heart of the Matter, where we are talking with Representative Obani Koro, the representative of the Etiosa local government. Now, can I call you Babajide?
Yes.
Obafemi Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Ralph Okpara, Amadu Bello, these people were the ones that fought for Nigeria's independence and obtained it, and they were all no more than 40 when they came into office. Then they were overthrown by the likes of Ironsi. We had Gawan, Ojukwu. All of the people that led the early Republic of Nigeria were young men. They're still in office today, or still seeking for office. Why can't young men like yourself, because in Nigeria we have age barriers to public office. You can't run for president unless you're 40. A 38-year-old man, I think it was David Cameron, was less than 40 when he became Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Bill Clinton was in his early 40s, so was Obama, about 40, but young men can do this job. Why aren't the old men handing over to the young? It's a natural process that the old gives way for the new. The old gives way for the young.
Nigeria of today, it's a battle of who you know, and most importantly, cash. Cash determines a lot. Even if you're going to plan a coup in the military, you need a lot of resources to do that. And I don't think that we have that resources at hand to match what this hold have immersed over time. So that is one of the things that is holding us back. You cannot, and our culture also doesn't make it easy for us. You're raised as a young man to always respect your elders, to always yield to your elders, unless on exceptional occasions. And I don't think we as a youth were ready to take over.
But in the last election, or just before the last election, there was a group, Buhari actually endorsed them, that young people should be able to run for office, to encourage them to run for office. And I don't think it's a fault of the old people. The old people will not go by themselves. But if the young people show themselves to be more competent, ready for office, surely they can take power merely by their choice.
I believe a lot of young men have shown that they are able and more than able to lead the nation.
Just talking about the House a little, for those of us that actually don't get to go to the House, but we can only watch on TV, we often see that both the Senate and the House of Representatives tend to be empty most of the time, except there's a big debate on. How come our representatives are not always sitting in the House?
Thank you. That's a good question, and I hope Nigerians would understand my explanation. See, once you are a member of the House, there are committees that oversee the executive functions. Okay. So every member of the House is a member of a committee. So when the House is empty, 90% of the time, if not 100% of the time, members are actually either at a committee meeting or attending a committee oversight function. And like, for example, I'm a member of about 12 committees. At times in the whole week, I might not be in Abuja at all. I can be in one committee meeting or oversight function for the whole week. You know, it can be in. There was a particular week I was in the 6 regions of Nigeria, just covering. Taking on the assignment assigned to me by the committee. So when the floor is empty, as in that, when you see it, that's what's going on.
See, but the problem that I then have is that if a vote has to be taken, the absent members cannot vote. Is therefore the vote that comes a true representation of what the Nigerian people want?
Now, when it comes to, I'm a member also, one of the committees that I'm in is called Rules and Business.
Okay.
So now, what that committee does is we take all the motions from every member,
Okay.
all the bills, pending, new ones, the ones that are going through second or third reading. We put them together and fix a date for them to be heard.
Okay.
So on a day where we need majority of the members seated, a circular will be sent out that
Okay.
we need all the members on the floor because so and so is going to be debated. And at times, a member that is moving a motion that is passionate about the motion will also take the effort to let everybody know that on this day, this is going to go on. We need everybody to be seated. And on that day, you will see more members seated than the regular legislative days.
Now let me now move to a biting topic. And my question is corruption a problem in Nigeria? And if it is, what is the House of Representatives doing about it?
Corruption is a big problem of Nigeria, be it in the public sector or the private sector. Now, the House is trying its best to curb it, but let me use one of the committees that I'm a member of as an example, the Insurance and Actuarial Committee.
Okay.
Now, there's a lot of, I won't say fraud at the moment because we are still investigating, because right now we're currently doing investigative public hearing. So I won't say corruption or fraud, but there's a lot of impractices, let me use that is currently ongoing that we have noticed. And the insurance companies as well agree with us that the current practice of insurance is not in line with the Insurance Act of 99 or so. So that's one of the things the House is doing to make sure that we reduce corruption in the system. And I'm sure that as we are doing our own investigative investigation on insurance, I am also a member of the Nigerian Air Force Committee.
Okay.
We are doing the same thing in the Air Force Committee. Air Force Committee. So a lot of committees are actually doing that just because we want to get the civil servants in check, and also the corporate bodies that they are dealing with. Also want to get them in check so that we can find a way to reduce the corruption in the system.
Yeah. We cannot legislate against corruption because it's something that has become a part of the fabric of our society. And I would say that the values of Nigerians seem to have changed over the years. And so it is not bad to demand bribes or to give bribes. So what can the House do? Forget about legislation against corruption, but what can the House do to encourage Nigerians to shun corruption and take the straight and narrow?
Well, in the House, it is, we also know that bribery has become a customary part of our daily lives. And people don't even see it as bribery anymore. Some people see it as, what's the word I'm looking for now?
Not a gunje.
No, not a gunje. Some people see it as PR now.
Okay.
Like some companies actually call it PR. When you see in their books or their statements, you see PR, and that's how imbibed in us this is. Now, there is no law that you can, there are laws in place to checkmate all these things, but because it's already a part of us, we all tend to overlook it. So I think the best way to reduce it, or to, well, I think all you can do is reduce it. I don't think we can totally eliminate it. Is to start enforcing all these laws, because the laws are there.
Do you think the churches and mosques have a role to play in reducing corruption?
I personally, just 2-3 days ago, on Friday actually, I was just, after my Jumat service prayer, and I put money in the bag that people drop money, and I saw the amount of money that went in there, and in my head I'm thinking, and now this is not taxable, simply because, quote unquote, God. So, and I know that is nothing compared to what some mosques and churches do get. So I think it's high time the government needs to, because in the US, I don't think, or in the Western world, I don't think the religious houses make the amount of money the ones in Nigeria make. So in Nigeria, it's no longer religious. I think it's now a business venture that we need to find a way to regulate it. They should start paying tax, because even if they are not being corrupt, but their practices, most especially, no offense to be taken, the current pastors, the lifestyle that they have shown to citizens is not in the way of the calling of the Lord.
So you put me on the spot now.
Well, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
I'm going to answer that. I think the first thing is that whatever comes in the offering, certainly in the church, in this church, is not income for the ministry. It is for the use. It's for the work. We've got a huge building here. We have to pay for its maintenance. We have to pay staff. We've got almost 100 staff. They've got to be paid their salaries. We've got so many things to do with the money. Secondly, taxation is on income. We are a not-for-profit. And income is only judged after you've, made a profit. So we're not in business. And again, and I think this is where you have a major point, it is important that religious houses are also accountable. Their books, their audited accounts should be submitted for auditing. We've had our books audited for 30 years. Every year, external auditors come, audited our books, and then we submit the accounts. So there's this whole legend that has come with a few people that live ostentatious lifestyles, and it seems that brush is being used to tar everybody. Mm-hmm. So it's not that bad in the church. Okay.
So just the way we politicians are being generalized,
okay.
I guess the same thing applies to churches then.
And that's a good time for us to go on a break. So we'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned to the Heart of the Matter, where we're talking to Honorable Babajide Obanikoro.
My brother is an addict. He dropped out of school in 2015, and all he does is eat, smoke weed, and drink alcohol. He gets violent and would destroy stuff just to get his way. He's been in and out of rehab 4 times, and my parents think it's some kind of spiritual force that needs to be prayed away. I'm afraid for their lives and for my brothers. Please help.
Family life is very important to me because I see the family as being at the center of God's redemptive plan for mankind. Every community has the family as its basic unit. It's the building block of any society.
Family life is a topic which hardly gets the attention it requires. For me, it addresses a lot of things we don't usually talk about.
So I bring this episode of Family Life every week, talking about one segment or the other of family life. We talk about marriage. How do you make marriages better? We talk about parenting. How do you deal with tough, difficult children? We talk about things like divorce, childlessness. We talk about adoption. We talk about a whole variety of things on Family Life with Wale Adefarasi.
I love the fresh perspectives that Pastor Wale gives while still focusing on biblical principles. I believe that if people know better, they will do better.
And so it's important that we give family life the prime of place and the prime of attention. At the moment, we are reaching 8 states of the Federation, and our goal is to be able to reach all 36 states. And so we're looking for partners that will join hands with us, support us in getting this out. Remember, as you join to support or to partner with us in making sure we're able to expand this program beyond our present reach, you are doing something for your nation. Welcome back to the Heart of the Matter, where I have with me today Representative Babajide Obanikoro in conversation. And just while we were on a break, he said, "Pastor, don't call me honorable. I'm a representative, and so that's what I want you to call me." Kudos to you for that.
Thank you, sir.
Now, obviously, you were motivated to join the race to become a representative because you felt you had a contribution to make that would change your constituency, change our nation. What are your dreams for the Etiosa constituency? Where do you see Etiosa by the time your tenure is over?
One of the issues we have, or during the campaign and while we were doing our research, Etiosa did not have anybody employed at the federal service, civil service.
Okay.
And
are you serious?
yes, there is no anybody from Etiosa in the federal service. So I told the people of Etiosa that by the time I'm done, we're going to have a few citizens of Etiosa in the civil service, that in another 10, 15, 20 years from today, we'll be at the top of civil service. That is one of the dreams that I have for the people of Etiosa. And like I always say on the floor, that Etiosa is the most corporate local government in the entire federation. We're going to make sure, we're going to bring, apart from the private investments in Etiosa, we have very little, especially federal government presence here in Etiosa. We're going to try and bring federal government to Etiosa, be it via health, I'm not sure yet, be it via environment. Within the next 4 years, I am sure that in one aspect of our daily lives, the federal government presence will be felt here in Etiosa. That's one of my, that's another dream.
Talking about that, and you talked about the environment, Etiosa is on the front line of the Atlantic Ocean.
Yes, we are.
And there's a challenge with flooding, and what can you do to prevent? Right now, people get flooded when the rainy season comes. A lot of that in Etiosa local government.
Yes.
What can you do about that?
One of the things we are going to do, which we also, maybe within the next 12 to 18 months, we'll kickstart a campaign to educate the citizens of Etiosa that the drainages that the government have provided for us are not enough. We need the drainages to be at 110% performance. Okay. And to do that, we need to start clearing our drainages by ourselves. all the debts that are flying around, it's not flying from other local governments, and it's not coming from the sky.
From the people.
It's from the people that reside within Etiosa. So we're going to launch environment project Clean Your Environment within Etiosa within the next 18 months, so that people will be aware that all these drainages, majority of the things clogging them are our sachet water, sachets from pure water, the bottled water cans, the Coke cans, the pack, this styrofoam takeaway pack. These are the things that are clogging the drainage. So we're going to educate our people. And then a lot of illegal dredging ongoing on the other side of Etiosa. We have started talking to the Dredger Association of Dredgers that they need to reduce or stop dredging where they know there is a drainage. Because once you dredge, you block the drainage. And that's one of the issues we are facing at Additional roundabout. Once it rains, because the major canal taking water to the lagoon has been dredged over. So that's where that problem lies. So those are one of the things that we want to do to let's self-help ourselves as opposed to waiting for
where do you stand on gender parity? Our population as a nation has a majority of women, and yet if you go into the House of Assembly, you find that the majority is still men.
There is no law that is saying that out of the 360 members in Nigeria, there must be 350 men. There's no law that is limiting the women's ability to run for office. There is no law that is limiting women's ability to participate in the corporate world, that they have to be just two female MDs across Nigeria. There is no such law. So the laws are already there encouraging our women. It's just the women themselves that need to come out more. For the society to accept and say, okay, whatever a man can do, I believe a woman can also do as well.
Okay. I thought you were going to say a woman can do better.
No, they can do as well.
Well, it's been such a privilege having you.
Thank you.
We'll be back again next week with another episode of The Heart of the Matter. So until then, stay blessed.